Hi. Over the last couple of weeks, I made my first ever Gen AI film. It was fun, it was unbelievably frustrating, it was affirming, and it was exciting. I'm going to share the top 5 things that this process taught me. Number one was the fact that although almost everyone has said that Gen AI is a tool, I think it's so much more than that. It's a member of the team. I wanted to bounce off it like you might with an illustrator or an animator. As I went through the process, I really wish there were other members of the team working with me that I could have bounced off. It would have made the process so much quicker, so much faster. Point number 2 is the fact that only limit is your imagination. Historically, budget and other constraints may have stopped us from being able to do just the most incredible CGI shots in almost any film. What Gen AI is going to enable us to do is to have a level of production value in even relatively low budget films, which just would have been inconceivable. That's super exciting. Connected to that is the fact that point number 3, those constraints are quite often what has led to far better filmmaking. You know, maybe you don't have the budget, maybe you don't quite have the locations, or maybe when you get back into the edit, you don't have the shots that you really wanted. That's then led us to have to be so much more creative with the work that we're doing, which I think actually leads to a far better film. The lack of constraints, perversely, actually, I think constrains the amount of creativity and the amount of work that you have to put into making a really, really great piece of work. I think the film will be poorer for it. Point number 4 is the dexterity of the platforms. If you're in your bedroom, you can create incredible work that looks like Game of Thrones or James Bond, almost anything you can imagine. But for us doing brand films for big global brands, we need a certain level of precision. We need brand alignment, we need brand safety, but we also need to be able to make amends and changes to a number of different stakeholders who all need certain different things from the piece of work. And the inability to make minute changes in the current platforms is a real hamper to this. This is another reason I think actually working in a hybrid system, using the AI as part of a human production team is going to be the real value add. And that brings me on to point number 5. So much of the work we do for our clients is about helping them to find the film that they want to create. Many of our clients come to us and they're not 100% sure what the piece of work they're looking to do is. They know roughly what they want to achieve, but they don't necessarily know what the film is going to be. And so having a tool that gets you from A to B without necessarily having to think through the process or really understand what you're trying to do is not necessarily that valuable, which again is why I think like a hybrid workflow is really where these systems are really going to shine. Anyway, that's the top 5 things that I learned while I was writing my blog and making a Gen AI film over the last couple of weeks. I hope you found this interesting. I'm going to be sharing some of these films to go along with my blog each week. Hope to see you next week, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.